$100 per month for the average classified employee who's put in 20 years of their life protecting our children, our families. That's just unconscionable to me. And it has worked. It's not like it has not worked. We've hit a really bad economic cycle right now, and everybody acknowledges that. But I want to paint a real picture on what that will mean. The other point I want to point out is that there's also a disparate impact on people with low income versus high income. I would encourage you and your staff to look at today's article in the Bee by Ken Jacobs. It clearly points out that as you're increasing the retirement age here, those who are the poorer incomes, who tend to have the harder work, they're not those who have the easier job, so to speak. They're the people who lift, carry. My father's in an 85-year-old program now. I can't imagine having a 67-year-old assistant trying to move him around. That's what we're talking about here, that we have parents, children who are dependent on this system to take care of them, and now we're talking about how are we going to take care of them when those workers get old. Well, if you're increasing the retirement age, it disproportionately hit people who make a lower income. And I think that study in the article today clearly shows that you're actually also shifting a policy in a way that if you go to 67 or 70, you're actually denying, because life expectancy is going up, but it's going up mainly for the people who are making high income. People who are the lower wage workers are not getting the increase in their life expectancy. So they're actually losing out on being able to benefit on the retirement system. So they're paying to a system that they're not going to get out as much. So we would encourage you to look very carefully on the hybrid system and to look carefully at the increasing the retirement age. We think that CalPERS has been a great system. It's worked. It really has. And for your money, that's the best way to help people ensure some modicum of income for them. $1,200 a month, please. This is not breaking the bank. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's testified. I guess now we will have public comment. We could go ahead and start. What do you want to limit to?
2 minutes.
Okay. Each public comment, each public person that is commenting will have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm Dave Elder. I was formerly the chair of the Public Employees Retirement System PERS Committee for 10 years in the legislature. Regrettably, I dealt with many of these issues back then. They didn't get resolved. One of the bills dealing with spiking, AB 2331, was vetoed by the governor, and it called for, whenever there was a spiking situation where the raises in the last years exceeded the actuarial valuation, then that agency would have to write a check for the present day value of that increase. So they might like Joe, but do they love him? And if that were to happen, that council would be gone, that city manager would be gone, all these people would be gone because it would cost millions of dollars. Instead, Senator Russell's bill was signed and called for an audit program. Well, that hasn't worked out too well in the intervening 20 years. So I would strongly suggest that you might want to look at something that calls for a payment of the present day cost of pension spiking if the amount increased exceeded the actuarial assumed rate for that agency. I would tell you that one thing that needs to be looked at is some of the employee groups are willing to reduce their pensions. The correctional officers have agreed to consider 2.5 at 55, which was my retirement formula that I got for them in 1982, on a voluntary basis. So some of the officers would do that because now they're paying 11% of pay, and if they were to go to a 2.5 at 55 formula, that could be reduced as well as the state's contribution. In 1984, I carried AB 529, which set up the state second tier. 50,000 state workers opted for a lower pension. 50,000 workers opted for a lower pension. Now, why did they do that? Because they got, in some cases, $100,000 in cash. They got all their money back. Now, in 94, the federal government said you can't do that anymore, so it would roll into a 401k or 457 now. So if we offer some of these lower pensions to existing employees on a voluntary basis, a large number of them who can't stand 11% of pay contribution would opt for the lower benefit. And that's a way to save some money. I mentioned pension spiking. I might just start off by saying the STRS.
Dave, you got to not start off, you got to finish.
Okay. The teachers' retirement system, the teachers have the worst pension in public service in California. So, we ought to be real careful about what we're proposing for them. I fixed that with elder full funding in 1990. That bill was signed by Governor Wilson. It called for the contribution for 1 year to be skipped in exchange for changing the contribution from the state from a fixed dollar amount to a percentage of payroll. That same device could be done again now and would save $900 million in the first fiscal year, $600 million in the second fiscal year. So if those kind of numbers are enticing to you, you should look at them. You've asked about the unfunded health care liability. My bill in 1988 set up the account at PERS to do that. I took a check over for $100 to start it. That'd be up to about $200 by now, except they tore up the check. This is their propaganda piece, and it says they got $1.7 billion in that account now. And it also indicates the percentage of funding on these other agencies. So I would submit this to the committee for your further review.
Dave, that's got to be appreciated, and I'm sure we'll talk at the bar somewhere.
There's only 6 other items, but I was glad to hear from the academic world earlier.
I want to apologize too. We have to work this out where we can get public comment more time.
Start with it first.
That may be a way to do it for the next one. Exactly. I'm assuming it's in this order?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Please.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Duff Sunheim. I'm here on behalf of California Pension Reform, the citizens group that's putting forward a pension reform initiative for the November 2012 ballot. Pension reform is not an ideological issue. It's a math issue. The governor's recognized it. Your own legislative analyst has recognized it. Your own reform commission has recognized it. And they've recognized the crushing effect it's had on public safety, education, and other vital services. For example, during the last 4 years, San Jose's retiree benefit expenditures have more than doubled. And as a result, they've been forced to lay off 23% of their workforce. The same's happening all over the state, and it's going to get worse, much worse. We highly commend the governor for putting his proposal forward. However, he indicates at best it will save $11 billion over 30 years. But the problem, even by your own reform commission, is that it's currently a $250 billion problem. So by his own admission, the governor only addresses 5% of the problem. Our proposal takes on this issue by addressing the unfunded liability that exists with respect to current employees. And what's really important to note, and I'm glad to talk with you or anybody on your staff, is it does so in a way that has been recognized by the courts throughout the country and does not in any way at any time reduce the benefit of current employees. So we'd be glad to talk with you about how we do that in a constitutional way and protecting the benefits of the current employees.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Hi, thank you. I'm Marcia Fritz, the president of the California Foundation for Fiscal Responsibility. We're a 501c3. We educate and we do research. Brown's 12-point pension reform proposal is comprehensive, and I'd like that future employees will share equally in the costs and the risks and the rewards of their pension benefit. They share completely equally with the taxpayers. And all of this doom and gloom about a hybrid not working, the federal employees have had this benefit since 1988 when Reagan was president. He created a second tier, and their formulas are designed for a 75% replacement, just like Governor Brown's, and it's working, and it is a one-size-fits-all, and I don't see the federal government having a problem recruiting employees. If we were a country, we'd be the 7th largest country in the world. Why would what the federal government is doing be any worse for California? Two additions.
Thank you, Mrs. Fritz. Appreciate it.
2 additions that I would put into Brown's proposal, similar to what Duff just said earlier, is provide a tool for local agencies where this reform that Brown is proposing will not be enough to keep them out of bankruptcy. And the tool has been well written and well researched. That's in the initiatives that have been filed by his group. and they've done a lot of legal research. The second thing I would do, a lot of people think that the increased retirement age is going to cause more disability and workers' comp. I think Brown's proposal should decouple disability, the disability benefit, completely from the pension benefit and have it be provided by private companies, JPA, self-insurance. There's other states that are doing this very efficiently, very effectively. They're
Mrs.
reducing
Fritz,
costs.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes, next.
Sorry. No, thanks. My name is Linda Pfeiffer, and I'm on the City Council of Sausalito. And unsustainable pensions are just, they cannot be sustained. Governor Brown's pension reform plan is a step in the right direction. It will help in the long term, but cities have a short-term problem. We need legislative relief now, and that's why I support the Pension Reform Act that was mentioned here earlier. And as a first step, most importantly, cities need transparency. First, every city in California should have the right to know from CalPERS how much money a city has paid into its CalPERS pension investment fund. Second, every city in California should have the right to know from CalPERS how much money a city needs to pay into its fund to cover its future pension liabilities. Currently, CalPERS will not release this information for individual cities. Cities are grouped into pools. And it's administerially, I think, convenient for CalPERS, but it's not transparent. Third, cities should be able to reduce the accrual rate of benefit for time not yet served for existing employees. Right now, the courts are interpreting case by case this issue, every court case open to interpretation. Cities need the legislature to pass a law that clarifies to what degree and under what circumstances can a city, general law, or charter reduce the accrual rate for time not yet served for current or existing employees.
I'm going to have to cut you off. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Hi, my name is James Snyder, and I'm here representing the nonpartisan group from Marin County, Citizens for Sustainable Pension Plans. First off, I'd like to congratulate all of you for doing what you're doing. You're asking a lot of very, very good questions, and I appreciate it, and I think we all appreciate it. I'd like to single out Mr. Simidian, though, for probing as deep as he's been probing on some of these questions and continue to do that, and for Ms. Walters for continuing to slam hard on the unfunded liability question. Continue to do that. I'm here from Marin County, and I'll just make this brief. Marin County is sick. We have been sick for a while, and we're getting sicker. We suffer from a lack of fiscal and pension guidance, of faulty governance under a state-to-county structure that prohibits the county from making the kind of local changes necessary to cure our illness. The county on its own cannot make the changes necessary to regain fiscal health. Fortunately, each of you has the authority to change this through a strong dose of effective legislation. Any pension reform proposal that hopes to make a meaningful, positive impact on public employers' budgets must address the cost of pensions for current employees. For the past decade, we have seen the cost of pensions and retiree health care rise to the point where the current unfunded liability resides somewhere between $700 million and $2 billion, and we don't know if that range is even close to being accurate.
I'm going to have to cut you off.
Was that 2 minutes?
Yes, it was.
That was a 1 minute warning.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Bob Stevens, and I also am a member of this. I'm sorry?
Go ahead, get started.
Are you going to time me? All right, good. My name is Bob Stevens, and I'm also a member of the nonpartisan group CSPP, the Citizens for Sustainable Pension Plans. Our state headquarters is located in Marin County. I'm here today to urge you to publicly support Governor Brown's 12-point pension reform program. It's no secret that California is in financial collapse, collecting billions of dollars less in revenue this year than estimated. But the state's economic tragedy is magnified by dragging down every city, county, and special district pension with it. The inability to act has placed the entire state in serious jeopardy. We in Marin County hear our local politicians parrot the same story when confronted with citizen demands for meaningful pension change at the local level. It's up to the state, they say. Until the laws are changed in Sacramento, we can do nothing to change the exploding, unsustainable pension problem of the county and city level. It's out of our hands. Well, if that's true, It's in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. This is totally a nonpartisan issue. It involves every Californian, every party, every group, every color, every ethnic group. It also includes the current public employees and the future of their benefits. We all look to you to do the right thing and help turn this disaster before it's too late.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Robert Ming. I'm a council member in the city of Laguna Niguel and president of the Association of California Cities, Orange County, an organization representing cities in Orange County. We saw pension reform as an important issue, and we built a pension reform task force consisting of mayors and council members, city managers, and city finance directors to try to address the issue, and we adopted some best practices guidelines that were unanimously adopted by our members. We've sent those to your offices. We support the governor's proposals, but we note that there's one thing missing that I wanted to bring to your attention. It's the vested right issue that came up several times. The governor mentioned it. He described it as the irrevocable lifetime commitment to allow employees to earn a future benefit at a particular level. And our guidelines offer a solution to that. If a private sector employer with an ERISA plan finds the pension plan unaffordable, they can freeze the plan. All benefits earned by employees up to that point are respected and will be paid out when due, but there's no vested right to continue to earn the benefits at any particular rate. We believe local governments should have that same right. We understand there's some legal uncertainty about whether any such right would be enforceable, and we would have to negotiate those changes at the bargaining table, but we do not need this committee to provide a rock-solid legal solution. We will, in fact, do that litigating for you to figure out whether it's constitutional. Instead, we seek legislation that would expressly give local governments that right, and and it will send a strong signal to the court that the legislature does not and did not intend to create an irrevocable right for employees to continue to receive any particular benefits for services if you were to pass something along those lines. So we think that it would help future litigation to have that change in legislation. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Honorable committee members, my name is Monica Delatorre, a member of AFSCME Local 3090 and an employee of the City of Los Angeles, where I work as a 911 emergency operator. As you know, collective bargaining laws in this state give workers a voice in their terms and conditions of employment. Unfortunately, the pension plan being considered by this committee attacks our bargaining rights by imposing conditions of employment in place of established long-standing agreements between public employees and employers. I'm here to testify from firsthand experience that the best way to achieve pension reform is through bargaining table. AFSCME Local 3090 is part of a coalition of LA city unions that recently was able to achieve agreements at the bargaining table that provided substantial reductions in employees' take-home pay in order to fund our retirement benefit. Most recently, in response to escalating healthcare costs, workers returned to the bargaining table to secure full vesting of their retiree medical benefits, and again, through the collective bargaining process, elected to contribute another percentage of pay. Today, we contribute a total of 11% of our own pay, and we have done so willingly in partnership with the city to keep pace with the rising costs. In these hard times, workers in many cities, such as Los Angeles, have willingly shared the sacrifice, agreeing to substantial wage reduction, furloughs, healthcare reductions, and higher premium contributions.
Excuse me, I'm going to have to cut you off.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Are you next?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Rachel Grocho Welch, and I'm a proud member of and a public employee of Santa Clara County. And my title is forensic chemist. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's something like CSI. And almost, but a lot better. What I do is I perform urine analysis for drugs of abuse for juveniles and adults on probation. And I work with probation to make sure that all our clients are on the road to recovery. I welcome Governor Brown's pension reform plan as a step towards making some needed changes to our state pensions system. I agree with the premise we all need to make some cuts to help our state through these tough economic times. And I know you're aware of the millions of dollars of concessions that public workers have made in their collective agreements. We support some of the ideas such as banning the use of pension spiking, which is a manipulation of salaries that is more often found in the ranks of upper management. But the governor's plan also has some concerns. I would like to specifically address the proposal to make normal pension costs be shared equally by employers and employees. Virtually all public employees already pay at or above 50% of normal. Our biggest objection is that certain employers have negotiated to pay the employee share. These negotiations took place in the arena of collective bargaining, which we do not wish to be tampered with. Pensions are a negotiated benefit. No one size can fit all, and yet that's what the governor is proposing. A top-down mandate from Sacramento is a heavy-handed hammer that greatly hurts and the give and take of collective bargaining process. I urge you to please keep this in mind as you go forward with your hard work on the pension reform. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Am I on?
Yes. Make sure the light's on. There you go.
Okay, here we go. My name is Bob Segala. I worked at the Office of Education and Probation Department in Santa Clara County for 3 decades before retiring. I contributed my fair share to our pension system, and now that I'm retired, we're trying to change the rules. When I first went in the job market, my parents sat down with me and said, you can go to public or you can go to private. They said if you go work for the county, you'll have a nice little retirement and good medical plans. The medical plans has been demolished because of the interest or the coach pays that you pay. Also, everybody that went on the public side or private business, they've lost half their retirement. For most workers in our pension is our rainy day fund. The whole point of retirement fund is security. The governor's plan is forcing a hybrid risk-sharing pension plan, replacing a secure and effective retirement system with risk and ineffective gambling. For the state to step in and mandate the workers' contribution towards a retired defined contribution plan is a clear violation of workers' collective bargaining rights. If a hybrid plan makes sense for a group or workers, their employer, let them negotiate it at the negotiating table, rather than an edict from Sacramento. The others, not well thought out ideas from the governor's proposal is increasing retirement age. That just seems punitive and arbitrary. Even Social Security allows retirees to retire at an earlier age with discount benefits.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off.
Okay.
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Honorable members of the committee, I'm Mike DeBoard, and I represent the California Retired County Employees Association. We represent over 163,000 retirees in California. And we've already submitted our written document to you. I hope you have a chance to read that. As retirees, we're very concerned about our kids and our kids' generation. And what do we learn from mistakes? We learn not to repeat them. The 401k plans appear to have been a disaster in the private sector for preparing workers for retirement security. The Wall Street Journal stated that 60 to 62-year-olds planning for retirement have less than 25% in their 401k account. Extrapolate that over the $3.3 trillion across the nation that are in 401k accounts, and the unfunded liability equivalent would be about $9 trillion to maintain retirement security. Nobody talks about that. What do we learn from success? We learn how to improve what we've done and how to repeat successes. Defined benefit plans have been successful and can continue to be successful preparing workers for retirement security in the future with some needed changes. Many of those are in the governor's proposal, but our concern in the governor's plan is the diminishing of the defined benefit component and adding the 401k-like plan. The result will be to reduce retirement security in the future. As well, this concept diverts workers' focus and attention from providing outstanding public service to worrying about what's happening in their 401 account on a daily basis. Do we really want our cops and firemen preoccupied with thinking about their 401ks every day? Of course not. I spent 32 years in public service and put all my energy into the job. I didn't even run my numbers until after I was 30 years into the system to know what my future retirement was going to be. That's good. That's really good.
I'm going to have to cut you off.
I trusted my defined benefit pension system, and I hope others can do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Honorable members of the committee, my name is John Perez. I'm president of United Teachers Los Angeles, retired. My brother and I have 72 years of service to the children of the state of California, and my sister just retired at age 63 with 30 years. The most important thing to our retired members about this plan that has been proposed by the governors is the problematic nature of the 67-year-old normal retirement date. If you take a look at people who go to college with the intent to become a teacher and start teaching as my brother and I did at age 23, you are asking them to teach for 44 years before they can get a normal retirement. Our retired members think that that is not a very good way to retain and recruit the quality teachers that the students of this state deserve. Everything is interconnected. We know that if every teacher who has a valid credential in the state of California who has dropped out of teaching were teaching today, class size in California would be about 10. At the beginning of a career, and this is data from 70 years, between 40 and 50% of teachers drop out of teaching in their first 5 years. It is an incredibly difficult job to do well, and the students of this state deserve experienced teachers who want to be in their classroom every day, not looking at the clock when they're 63 and 64 and 65 and have put in 40, 41, 42 years. We stand ready with our state organizations, the California Teachers Association and the California Federation of Teachers, to work with this committee and the governor to try to find reforms which will make the pension systems better. And I thank you for allowing us to come up here today and testify.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perez. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Irene Wetzel. I'm with CalRTA, which is Retired Teachers Association, and I can say I've had benefits from CalSTRS for 12 years. I'm also a typical retiree, according to Ed Durman, because all those statistics, that's me. And speaking for CalRTA, we have not adopted a position on the 12 points, but we definitely stand firm as far as spiking and inequities that are in the system. CalRTA supports a long-term solvency of CalSTRS. As working educators, you've already heard this, we've paid in half, and our employers paid in half. Those funds have been invested. CalSTRS pensions concept is ideal for full career educators and provides a modest retirement with security. The Pension Conference Committee is a grand opportunity for you to look at all the pensions that are there and find the best for each one. In conclusion, I will have to say this. The most amazing day of my life was when I got my first paycheck. I could not believe that I was entrusted with the children of first grade, and I got paid for it. Little did I think about pension, and there's people out there like that right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Dr. Sandy Keaton, and I also from United Teachers Los Angeles, and our comments have been passed out in writing. I'm an educational audiologist and spent many years in private practice and will be hit by the Social Security offset penalties that will affect the percentage of my benefit when I retire. But the one thing that I do want to bring up is I represent the union on the district's Retirement Advisory Investment Committee, and I see the investments 403B and our 457 plan and the 403B investments that many of our members make and the companies that these monies are going into. And I feel that CalSTRS has the hybrid plan that will work for our members. I am concerned that we are allowing the wolves to come in the door that help to bring down the pension plans, the Wall Street wolves. It wasn't educators. We are not the villains. And I am more concerned that we are going to be asking members in this system to be paying high fees, high costs, and high expenses, and high commissions, and making a lot of other people wealthy when we in turn will be hurt. Thank you for allowing me to comment.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
So good evening. I'm going to use the flexibility of that 20 minutes that you talked about earlier
Yeah, you think you.
So good evening. My name is Don Kilmer. I'm an education research and evaluation consultant for the California Department of Education. I stand today here representing SEIU Local 1000 and the 95 state employees who serve you, the people of California. SEIU Local 1000 is committed to ending the abuses that have existed in the state pension system. Our members, through collective bargaining processes, have already agreed to many of the governor's proposed reforms. Some of these reforms have been in place for years. Working collaboratively through collective bargaining allows many voices to be heard and mutually beneficial solutions derived. While reform is beneficial, it should be done in an open manner with input from all relative parties and in a bargaining process. It is important to realize that the pension reforms proposed by the governor are not the magic bullet and will not solve all of the budget crisis. Overall, the state employees' pension system comprises only about 4% of the state's general fund budget. California needs to develop a portable, safe, universal program for retirement savings to provide retirees with secure income. Retirement security for all should be the goal of the state, instead of trying to take the retirement system away from those of us who still have it. We will be knocking on your doors over the next several weeks.
Thank you very much for coming down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for hanging out in this full hearing. And thank you, Senator, and staff and everyone else. Thank you very much. Good night.